Mandy Productions goes on the street. This is Peter Casino, and here we are on the mean streets of Busan, South Korea. Not everybody who lives in this country is from this country. Some who have lived here for many years get reminded that there is a great difference between Korean culture and their own. Danny from T&D has gone out on the street to interview some of those people. Here's what he has found. Farnaz is from Iran and has been living in Busan as an expat for the last 8 years. She has been working here as a reporter, and she has had some pretty interesting experiences.
Hello, I'm here at this cafe and I found somebody here. What's your name?
I'm Farnaz.
Farnaz, and where are you from?
I'm from Iran.
All right, and how long have you been an expat, not only in Korea, but like everywhere?
Well, I came here to Korea next week. It's gonna be exactly 8 years that I'm here.
Wow.
And I actually just lived in Korea. After Iran, I just lived in Korea. I traveled to different countries, but the only country that I actually lived rather than Iran was here in Korea.
And were you a student?
I came here to study, yes, but I graduated like 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and now I'm working. I worked as a reporter, and and also in a company,
Okay, so all this time you must have some interesting stories. Do you have any?
Well, talking about being a reporter, I worked for like Busan 영어 방송, Busan English Radio. I had my segment there. And then I had to, go to the city and then talk to people about different events and festivals.
Right.
And something funny that at least once every time when I went out happened was that, I mean, it didn't happen so many times. People were so kind. They came to me and talked. But there were times that I went to people and I was like, 안녕하세요. And then no reaction. They just passed. It was like the first time it happened to me was just so funny. I was like, I mean, of course, I was a little offended, but more than that, I was just like laughing.
Yeah.
Like it was just so funny. But I understand,
Sometimes
different
you have to
cultures.
put yourself in their shoes too.
Yeah.
It's like, who's this strange person
Of
trying to
course.
talk to us?
Exactly. Yeah,
We
I
don't do that
understand.
here.
Yeah, definitely. Especially I understand Korean culture. But yeah, that was something interesting. And talking about like different culture, about the language also. The funny thing or interesting thing that I faced here was like the words that they use, like Konglish.
Konglish.
For example, like dance or service, like service. That's so interesting. Like service, this is service.
It's yeah. Well, thank you for the service. What service are you giving me?
Yeah, right. and the fact that like instead of like you're welcome, they say 네.
But there is a word for you're welcome. They just don't say it. 전만해요.
Yeah.
But
they don't use it. Yes, they don't use it a lot. So yeah. And I remember like first when I was like learning Korean, and then like there were signs that like I was really trying hard to read them, and I remember once I was actually in the bus and we were passing, and I saw a sign and I was like, dance class. I was like, oh, dance class, okay. Yeah.
Well, what do you think of the Korean alphabet? Do you think it's easy to learn, or?
Honestly, before I came here, I was thinking that, wow, it's like so difficult. But when I started to learn, so easy. So easy.
I tell people you can take 34 minutes out of your day and learn the whole Korean alphabet.
Exactly. Actually, Kim Sejong said that. Like, if you're a smart person, you can learn Korean alphabet in one afternoon. Like, as you say, a couple hours. If you're not very smart, maybe maximum 1 week. Yes. So I think.
Luckily, everybody here is smart that I've talked to.
I think it's actually I like Korean alphabet and Korean language.
Yes, it's
like,
so
thanks to
phonetic.
Yeah. I'm happy that it's not like Chinese or Japanese.
Oh,
It's more difficult.
With the 3 different alphabets, you have to learn verbs, nouns, which ones you have to use when. Yeah.
Yes.
You have any other stories you like to share?
Okay, it's kind of a long story, but I make it short. It was like maybe 7 years ago, 6 years ago, that somebody posted in Facebook about she opened a laser shop.
A laser? Laser shop?
I'm sorry, waxing shop.
Oh,
A
okay.
waxing
Like
shop.
lasers, like Star Wars.
No, laser like laser removal. I meant, but
Okay.
it wasn't laser removal.
Laser shop.
No, it was like waxing. Like,
Okay.
Yeah, it was. It was the first years that waxing actually started here because before that it wasn't like really popular. So there was a woman who actually opened her shop and was looking for some foreigners to actually, actually use them as models or something and practice basically. So I sent a message to her, and I was actually at that time I was really looking for something, some places like that. So I sent a message to her, and like we were arranging and everything, and then these places are very popular. They were not right now, but they
Right,
were
yeah,
popular
they were.
in Iran.
Right.
Yeah, these days they just use laser hair removal. So yeah, so I sent a message to her and we arranged. And then in Iran, when we want to go to these places, we take like a separate sheet and like personal stuff
Right,
with
yes,
us.
yes.
Yeah. To be comfortable and everything. So I told her, should I bring a blanket with me? Instead of sheet, I don't know why I said blanket. and she, like right after that, I don't know why, like it's more sensitive here about some words and privacy and
Right.
stuff.
Uh-huh.
So she actually thought that I'm trying to, do something. I don't know. So she told me like, oh wow, why you said something like that? And I'm going to call police. It's like, what was wrong?
It's
What
not that
happened?
kind of place.
Like what happened? And yeah, I called her like right away. I called her like, and I was so scared actually. Like, oh, don't call police. So yeah, that was funny. And then I realized like that word is sheet, not blanket. But yeah, that was just the difference
Oh, yeah.
in just the two cultures.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so at the time it wasn't that funny. But looking back at it,
It was kind of funny because I mean I was like, what happened? But at that moment it was not funny. But after that,
yeah. When you have some time to look back at something, you can laugh at it. All right. Well, I know you're a very busy person, so I'm gonna let you go about your day now. Okay.
Thank you. It was
All
nice
right.
to see you.
Thank you for joining us on this show.
Well, calling the police on someone who asks about bringing a blanket seems a bit drastic. Who knows what the lady was really thinking? Sometimes these misunderstandings are best avoided by sticking to one's own language, but then other problems may arise. This is Mandy. She's from Michigan in the USA. Mandy has been in Korea for at least a few years. Like so many other foreigners in Korea, she teaches English. But not all of her experiences in this country have been in the classroom. Here's what she has to say.
What's your name?
My name is Mandy.
Mandy, and where are you from, Mandy?
I'm from Michigan in the United States.
Okay, and you're also a pretty good world traveler.
Yeah.
And how long have you been an expat for?
An expat? I've been an expat in Korea for about 2.5 years.
2.5 years, just in Korea, or have you been elsewhere?
I went to China for a summer camp prior to coming to Korea. I did that twice.
Okay, just for summer though.
Yeah, I was only there for about 3 weeks.
Just for 3 weeks, okay. All right, so you must have some interesting stories to share.
Yeah, I have lots of stories of being
Humor
abroad.
me, humor us, humor my viewers, humor our viewers.
All right. Let's see. What kind of? So I have a lot of kind of funny.
But keep it G-rated.
Oh, G-rated? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh no, half of my stories
we
are
want to be a family.
slashed.
We want to be a family-friendly channel.
All right. So then I'll.
At least PG-13. That'd be okay.
So
Okay.
the first one is. I think I was here for only a couple months, and I had a friend who I had met at a concert, and she came down to Busan to visit. She was going to be going back to Canada soon, and so I met up with her. She's like she's like Chinese Filipino, so some people might have considered her, maybe looked at her and thought that she was a Korean person. But she and I were sitting on the bus and we were just chatting, we were catching up because we hadn't seen each other for a couple months. We were going on the way to Seongjong Beach, and suddenly there was an ajushi on the bus, and he turns
Ajushi
to
is
us.
an old Korean man.
Yeah, that's right. So this older Korean gentleman, he turns to us and starts yelling at us. I don't know if I didn't think that we were being too loud, but he turned to us and was like, "Why are you speaking in English?" In Korean, he was saying, like, "Why are you speaking in English? You should be speaking in Korean." Blah, blah, blah. Like, he was yelling at us and we were just stunned. We didn't know, like, what to say, because like that friend had been in Korea for a little while and she had studied, but my Korean level was still pretty low. So he was shouting at us, and like I only picked up that he wanted us to be speaking in Korean, not in English. And so we were like, oh, like totally speechless. And then the ajumas, the older Korean women who were like across from him, immediately like they came to our defense and they started yelling at him for yelling at us. They were like, "Why are you bothering those young girls? You know, leave them alone."
Did a big fight break out?
A little bit. It was a bit of a shouting match on the bus on the way to Seongjong.
Wow.
They started shouting at him like, you know, "Leave those girls alone. Like, what right do you have to yell at them for speaking, you know, their language?" Even though, you know, maybe they thought that my friend was Korean and he was mad that we weren't speaking in Korean.
Yeah.
But either way, it was really heartwarming for those ladies to come and defend us, and it was, yeah, I never would have expected, you know, because like when you live in Korea, there's this like ajumma energy, you know, you never want to mess with the Korean ladies.
Right. Yeah.
They're such
right,
strong
yeah.
personalities. And you know, they turn that against somebody and to protect us. It was really nice. It was really funny. But yeah, and you know, we got off the bus pretty.
Got off the bus pretty quickly.
Yeah. So yeah, that's my story of.
Well,
Shouting
that just shows you that Korea has lots of different kinds of people.
Yeah, exactly.
You have those nice people who stand up for you, and you have the people who yell at you for basically doing nothing.
Yeah. You know, I'm from the States, and I've totally seen cases of people getting yelled at for speaking their native languages as well. Turns out
It happens, yeah.
it's not unique, but there are also good people everywhere who will.
In America, you hear all the time, "You're in America, speak American or speak English."
Yeah, exactly. My parents are immigrants too, so there are instances when they speak their native languages in the U.S. But yeah. So that's my first story. Is it? What did you think about it?
It's a good story. Let's see what your other one is. This is the spicier one you said.
This one is a little bit spicier. All right, so there's a language exchange app that people will use in Korea, and I won't say its name, but lots of Korean people meet up and make friends, but there are definitely people with other intentions on those apps.
Right, yes.
And, you know, we're all human. If the other person's pretty attractive, maybe you'll want to meet up with them. So there was this one guy that I met up with, and we, let's say, we had a night, and then, you know, we decided that we should just be friends afterwards. And so that was fine. So we kept messaging each other as friends. And then later I went up to the town that I used to live in, and I met up with some of the foreigners who live there. It's not that far. It's just like the north side of Busan. So I met up with some foreigners who live there, and they were just introducing this new girl to kind of the group of friends. She was new, and they wanted, you know, her to make some other foreigner friends. So I met her for the very first time, and we were chatting, and she was sitting next to me, and she was like debating what to do after we all met up. And so she was like, "Oh, I don't know, like, I don't know if I want to walk home. Maybe I'll message my boy toy and and have him drive me." I was like, "Oh wow, you know," and like, you know, it turns out he was a Korean guy with a car who could drive her, who lived kind of around there in Busan. And we were like, wow, it was like, wow, that's weird that you would call him that. You know, we're all adults, but. You know,
she actually said boy toy?
She really did. She called him a boy toy.
I thought no, that was your interpretation of it.
No. That part is verbatim. I don't remember everything, but so I looked over at her phone and I recognized the person. I was like, oh, I know that guy. And she was like, how do you know him? And it was the guy that I had met. And so I had to explain that I was like, oh, well, 3 weeks ago, he and I kind of, we kind of met. I wasn't being possessive over it. I was like, oh, we just met one time.
Yeah.
But she was pretty bothered by the fact that, he had just been with a foreign woman right before and found another foreign woman. But, she spent the whole night asking me more questions about him.
Who is he? Where's he from?
Yeah, like
Who's his
trying to
mother?
hide that this was bothering her more than it was, because it really wasn't bothering me. But she was like, oh, well, he's just, somebody I'm meeting until somebody better comes along. And I was so
Hence
surprised.
boy toy.
I couldn't believe it. I was like, obviously he was meeting multiple girls, but he wasn't, they weren't agreeing to be exclusive, so I was really uncomfortable with the way she was talking about him. I was like, he's just, and so we ended up taking a selfie together and sending it to him. And he was like, oh my God, why is this happening? But yeah, so I never hung out with that girl again. So that's my racier story.
It's not too racy. I know you're very busy and you have to do a lot of things on this Sunday. You probably have to go to work tomorrow. You gotta get ready and stuff.
That's true.
So I'm gonna let you go. Thank you very much for interviewing.
Yeah, it was nice meeting you.
For the most part, the locals do try to make it comfortable for the visitors of Korea. However, they are fairly protective of their way of doing things in this big city with a small town feel. Busan, where somebody knows somebody who knows somebody that knows you. So, we want to know what you think. Are you an expat? What are some of your interesting stories? Tell us in the comments. If you like this, please give it a big thumbs up. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell to get notified when we drop another great video like this one. Until next time, this is Peter saying, see you around or see you square.